Let's talk about fathers.
Yeah, let's do that. It's a topic that's dear to my heart.
Why so dear to your heart?
Because I didn't have one. My childhood was always, I will do this when I have a child. I didn't know I was going to have any children at all. Didn't know how much work children were going to be. But I didn't have a dad, and I wanted to be a dad. It was just inherent. I don't know where that came from. It just was there. I struggle with selfishness, right? I want the kids to go to bed so I can watch my TV. I get annoyed when I've got to look after a child when they're sick. I've got 3 telling me they want different things for breakfast. You go far out, can't wait for my own space. These sorts of things, you have to, if you're going to show up and be a dad, you have to be ready to serve, not to be served. I grew up in a society where kids were seen and not heard. I'm not a big fan of that. There is a space where a child has to learn their boundaries. And again, that's another thing about being a dad, consistent boundary keeping. That's hard to do. You get annoyed at having to repeat yourself. You get annoyed at saying the same things 50 times and you don't think anything you're saying or showing them is getting through to them. A lot of patience is involved. But the role of a father is so needed. I've rubbed shoulders with a few boys in the gang world. The majority of their stories is that there was a father figure there, but he was there just by presence. There was no investment emotionally. There's something that a father does, especially for a son and for a daughter, and I only know this because I didn't get it, and I saw others and I observed other people in my life that did have it, and just how settled they were, especially through their teenage years. A father in particular has the role of identifying their children. They say, this is my son, this is my daughter. That's the first and foremost. The second thing is, in whom I'm well pleased. I am pleased with you. A child, the majority of their life, Dad, watch this, Mum, watch this. Those are all identifying opportunities that a father in particular has massive mana on to identify your child. To identify another person is actually a huge responsibility.
To be seen.
You're seeing that child, you're telling that child who he is, so that child can then one day walk on his own 2 feet, with his shoulders back and his head high. So I went through my teenage years where I remember one of the bros called me a chameleon. He's like, who are you? Like you act this way in this group, this way in that group, like who are you? And I had a real problem with who I was, because I didn't know. No one had told me. No one had told me that who I was okay, and who I was acceptable. That starts in the home, and the father does that. You're my son, you're my daughter, I'm pleased with you. I remember my uncle, he was a rep in soccer, and he played at some high grades, and my granddad went to one of his games, I think it was a rep game, and he saved all these goals, and my granddad always said was, good game, son. And my uncle tells a story, he's like, I was done. That's all I wanted. That's all I needed. And he stopped playing soccer, because he was just after his dad's approval. Dad's approval is better than any gold medal, any achievement. All these superstars look in the stands for their dad. Is he there? Is he watching? Dads have got a massive role to play. So I'm pumped about doing it for my boys.
Sounds like it's quite a healing space for you to now be able to offer that to your sons.
You can't do it unless you're healed. Because if you're not healed, you're like, well, I didn't get it, why should you? You have to be healed, and you have to go on that journey to get healed. And that's tough, because you've got to expose yourself, you've got to be vulnerable, you've got to shed a tear, you've got to do whatever you've got to do to get it out. Otherwise you carry it, and then you pass that on. You've got to pass on the healing, not the hurt. But yeah, that's, as I keep saying, that is not easy to do, but it's doable.
Worth it.
It's worth it. For you. If you could walk around this planet as a healed human being, my gosh, you attract so much more.
The best of the world.
Birds of a feather flock together. They see it's what you put out, you get back. You're putting out hurt and trauma and shame and rejection, that's what will come back to you. But if you're healed and you're putting that out, you're going to get goodness back.